Welcome back to the podcast, folks. In a sec, we'll crack on with episode 57 with Scottish comedian Billy Kirkwood. But first, a shout out to our sponsors, who are Innov. Now, Innov sponsor the main TeapotOne YouTube channel. They specialise in motorcycle dash cam systems. They've got the single dash cam system, which is the C5, and they now do the K systems, the K2, the K3, and the K5, which are front and rear dual camera systems. The K3 and K5 have got onboard remotes, they've got external mics. All the K systems have a full GPS overlay, so you can track your route associated with each file. Cracking bits of kit, folks. They literally, once you've fitted them, it's fit and forget. They switch on and start recording as soon as either you turn the ignition or if you have the parking mode enabled. The second they detect any movement of the bike or in front of the cameras, they'll start recording there and then. Head to innov.co.uk, that's innov.co.uk/TP1 for more info and let them know TeapotOne sent you. We are also sponsored by Ultimate Add-ons. Now, Ultimate Add-ons are the premium manufacturer of mobile phone and action camera mounting solutions for motorcycles. With a kit for any bike and a proven track record of creating products that keep your devices safe, secure and easily accessible, the Ultimate Add-ons product range is ideal for any rider from the commuter to the round-the-world adventurer. Why shell out an expensive GPS system when you can use your smartphone, keeping it charged and within reach to take photos of your travels at the same time? Ultimate Add-ons waterproof, shockproof and dustproof tough cases are available for all flagship smartphone models and are designed by riders for riders. Find out why Ride magazine gives Ultimate Add-ons their coveted Best Buy certification. Keep riding this winter with Ultimate Add-ons. It's all about the journey. And if you head to ultimateaddons.com and use the code TeapotOne with the number 10, TeapotOne with the number 10, you'll get 10% off. And lastly, we are sponsored by the Influencer Store. The Influencer Store helps you build your brand, big or small, providing you with a solution and apparel. We help you to increase your fan base while supporting you with starting your own influencer clothing line with nothing more than just an idea or design, and there are no hidden costs. For more info, come check us out at theinfluencerstore.co.uk or drop us an email at online@influencerstore.co.uk for more information. And the Influencer Store handle all the merch for TeapotOne and the podcast, so if you head to TeapotOne.com, check out the shop, everything there is handled by the Influencer Store. A huge thank you to the podcast sponsors. They really do help to keep things going here, and to all of you over on Patreon too. Folks, if you would like to help out the podcast, or indeed if you want to sponsor an episode, drop me a line, info@TeapotOne.com, or DM me either on Instagram at TeapotOne Insta or Facebook, facebook.com/TeapotOne. Okay then, folks, let's crack on with episode 57, Billy Kirkwood. Folks, welcome back. This week's episode, we've got Billy Kirkwood. How you doing, Billy?
I'm not too bad. Don't worry. I've never heard of me either. So just in case. So anyway, this guy doesn't ride bikes.
Aye, but you got a beard. You got a great beard.
I've got a beard, mate. I qualify.
You're a beard and you're Scottish. You're already right at the top of the queue.
I had to trim it, actually. They made me trim it because
that's a bit weak.
I was doing a telly thing, and they were like going, "Can you tidy up the beard just a wee bit?" And I was like, "How much is a wee bit?" We went, "Quite a lot." It's like, okay, you know what? Well, in all fairness to him, like, yours is grooved and looked after. Mine's are just kind of
no, it's not.
It was better than mine. It just started going all weird directions and stuff, and they made me clean up a wee bit. But now, ironically, I'm going to be doing this wee short film called Lost Viking, and I've got cast as a fucking Viking in it. And the first thing they went is, "How's the beard looking?" And I went, Not as straggly as it was, mate. Not as straggly as it was. So, fuck, I don't know how I'm going to get through that, but I get to let my grey come in. I'm quite excited about that. Because although the weird thing is, it's like one line of grey it's like a skunk on its side. It's like one line, and nowhere else. Just one stupid line, like somebody's done me with like a Tipex pen or something. So I've got all that to look forward to.
Mine started going like that with all these like streaks of grey everywhere. Now it's pretty much just white. Now
That looks good,
pretty
though.
much the way it is. So
I've always that's always what I wanted. I wanted a finger click white. I wanted like Santa straight away. I don't want the bit in the middle where you're looking at yourself trying to, I don't know, do you comb it ever and get a fucking no idea. We are already saying this.
Of course we are. Oh God, aye, no bother. Folks, if you're wondering how Billy and how our paths crossed, it's not just because we're both Scottish and you can't help but know. Fight Club. Can't talk about that.
We punched fuck out a couple of midgets, and it was what a time.
We both ended up in A&E together. I came on your broadcast, didn't I? Sir. Which is like your podcast for Broad Beard Oils. You're sir. Like the MC for their podcast. So
yes,
Billy asked if I'd come on. We got on. We had a good time. And,
we did.
So I'll put links for that actually because it's a funny episode, not for me but for Billy. And I thought I'd return the favour and have you on this one.
Oh, yeah, I'm delighted.
So what I normally do on these, Billy, is then I basically just go, what's your name, where'd you come from, what you do, and it's just your sort of pitch, the opening gambit, opening minute or two, and we'll go for there. So,
all right, okay.
Billy Kirkwood, floor is yours.
My name is Billy Kirkwood, and I am the greatest comedian that's ever lived. That's all you need to know. I'm the greatest. Am I? No, exactly. How? Fuck, I'm terrible at selling myself. I was good at selling myself for being Saturday Night Telly. So what's a good way of putting it? I'm a stand-up comedian. I think that's the best way. Presenter as well. I do a radio show. I do broadcast as well, of course, for Broadbeard. I do some wrestling commentary as well. What am I? I am a fucking idiot tumbling his way through life like a bin bag full of tits down a hill. There's no plan. It's just, some horrible things have happened to me. What do you need to know about me? The shortcuts. I've been knocked out by an emu. That's happened.
What? No, come on.
I was telling somebody this.
We got to go back there.
All right, we'll just well, do you know you can't take a selfie with an emu? Don't ever try. You're fighting neck and nothing else. And this one didn't me right in the middle of the head when I was trying to take a selfie. Caught me and I was out for about 10 seconds. That story's came up about 3 times in the last week. I've no idea why. I went to a safari park. So that's what I do really. Obviously everything's been shut down in the last year in terms of gigs. Been out there doing online stuff and what have you, done some driving gigs, but getting back out doing gigs now, and that's it. That's my philosophy of life. Just a energetic, happy kind of guy. Happy. I'm Scottish. I can't say I'm happy. Come on, I can't get away with that. I think they'll come and get my passport if I say that. So outwardly cheery. No, that makes me sound worse, doesn't it? Outwardly cheery. That makes me sound like...
You sound a bit mental in Scotland if you say I'm outwardly cheery.
Oh yeah, he's just a cheery boy. Don't go near him.
He's a dafty.
Don't go near him. He'll have a knife on him. Come here a minute. Only in Scotland can that phrase be a threat.
Come here a minute.
Come here a minute. No, you're all right. You're all right. Don't go anywhere near him. It's like, let's have a look at your bike. Don't go near him. Don't get near the bike.
I mean, when I first came to Glasgow, it was my first experience of, what colour are you? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I was for Aberdeen, but I was totally ignorant to the whole football thing. Totally ignorant.
It's weird for me because I grew up in the west coast of Scotland in Ayrshire. But my family are Irish. Right. And on both sides of the divide. So it's when I got asked that question as a kid, that was so confusing. So what colour are you? Are you Rangers or Celtic? Or I don't know. I'm not exactly sure.
It's never really come up.
Yeah, one granny eats her biscuits a certain way, and another granny eats her biscuits another way. I have no idea. And it's such an alien concept because also without going into it, the original lodge is like 10 miles away from where I live. It's such a weird thing, man. I think it's the one in Kilwinning. Is that the original one?
I haven't got a clue.
They probably say that. They're probably full of shite. You know what I mean? They're probably full of shite. But well, that's it, really. That's it is one of those weird things about being in Scotland, or when you're from Scotland and you're not from Glasgow. You know this being from Aberdeen.
Aye.
People can't get their head round it if you're not from Glasgow or Edinburgh.
Aye, there's more. What?
Well, there's more. What are you on about? It's like, I'm from Aberdeen. What part of Glasgow is that? Fuck off. What are you talking about? So I'll level with you. If anyone's ever seen me anywhere outside of Scotland, you know full well I always just say Glasgow because it's just easier.
Absolutely.
It's just easier, isn't it?
Aye, definitely.
Even over in Canada from Glasgow. But it's interesting when you meet someone who's from Glasgow somewhere else. You go, I'm from Glasgow.
Oh, what about?
No, you'll know.
Aye.
And they know straight away. No,
very suspicious straight away.
It's a secret code. Where are you? No, but where are you from? You go, I'm from Ayrshire. The secret's safe for me, son. Don't worry about it. Secret. Because they know. They know.
So you're saying in Canada, you've played all over the place, haven't you? I was reading up about you. You've played everywhere.
I've been very lucky. I've been very, very lucky. I don't say for good or for bad, I'm not sure. I don't say no to many things, to be honest. That's why I've got 3 kids. I've been very, very lucky. I've actually got to. I was trying to figure this out. I've got to go tours of Canada 3 times, and I've done gigs in the banks of Lake Malawi for the Lake of Stars Festival. Got a gig in North America, so I've been very lucky. And don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of countries. Hopefully, once this, we're all vaccinated through the WHOs and what have you, which isn't where they give you the injection, just in case anyone's wondering. Yeah, I've gigged all over. Canada was incredible because I loved Canada. You ever been? Oh, you have?
Aye. I have. Yeah, sort of in the west side. I went up to, is it Montreal in the middle? Or was that Winnipeg
indeed.
in the middle? And then I headed west from there.
Well, you see, it's a weird thing because I didn't know where we were going in Canada. Someone else is paying for it. Do you know what I mean? You go where you're told. And all I knew I was going to Toronto. We did Toronto, St. Catharines, which is down by Niagara, not far away from Niagara Falls, if that helps, Indy. Windsor, places like that. I'd always wanted to go to Montreal to the Just for Laughs festival, which is a difficult one for Scots to get into. But I haven't done it yet. The only reason and the reason for that is kind of how I got into stand-up. They used to show loads of stand-up on TV from like the Just for Laughs festival.
I remember it.
And on Channel 4, they just used to show videos like Robin Williams live at the New York Met, who's my guy. And I remember watching that and going, I want to do that. Then about 20 years later, I think I finally did it, but they always have a big gala there. And it was like, I'd love to go to Canada. And it's, as you know yourself from traveling, everywhere is so different in terms of like Montreal is so much more different to Toronto. Because Toronto is almost like, what's the way of putting it? Well, Montreal's practically France. It's so weird there. But I loved it, man. I loved touring across Canada, getting to meet different people. You get to meet Scottish people that have moved there, which is wonderful. You get to meet the Canadians who are the most chilled out. I'm not, this makes it sound terrible, man. That makes it sound like Scottish people are up for a fight at any given time. But their idea of a wild night and our idea of a wild night are 2 completely different things. You're like, Absolutely. 2 beers, I better go home. And you're like, are you joking? That's not even filled a shoe, mate. Let's keep this going. And I love that. But occasionally you meet somebody like, we've got a guy here that works here called Jock. Hey, someone get Jock. And you get this 80-year-old that left Coatbridge when he was 3 or something. Hey, it's me, Jack. And it's like, oh my God. And I always have the same, it's like, I knew a guy from Ayrshire called Jock McGlinty. Do you know him? And I've always got the same answer. Aye, he owes me money. Just to see if I'll put them on the back foot. He owes me money. You speak to Jock. But it was amazing to do comedy there because I had to alter how I do things different in England, and I would do things maybe not so much Ireland and Northern England. I would say it's a little different if you get into London. If you're doing Liverpool or if you're doing places like that, even Birmingham to a degree, I've got to slow down a wee bit, but it's not that bad. But no, not so much with the Scousers, it has to be said. Sometimes I can't believe that we occupy the same island, and if you can get a Scotsman and a Scouser talking together, it's like, what?
Like, it's amazing, isn't it? On such a tiny little wee island, how like the dialects change so drastically.
And then you go
a short period.
Then you go to like Montrose here, and you're like,
have you been up to Peterhead, Fraserburgh, up there where they're all speaking Doric?
Oh my God,
that's my country. That's where I'm from. Well, in between Peterhead, Fraserburgh.
Then that I don't need to tell you. Sometimes it's like, we're from the same country.
Aye.
What's going on?
Everyone's like, who's your dues? Oh, no bad.
For the first time I heard "Who's your dues," I was confused as hell. I was on a back foot going, I think I'm about to get lynched. I'm not sure.
Yeah. How are my pigeons? What?
There was a big smiley face. It's like, what's happening here? Is he flirting with me? I'm not sure.
Is he flirting with me?
Yeah. So then you get to, so Canada, the banks are going and doing gigs in Malawi was incredible.
How did that come about? Like,
oh my goodness. Well, there's a thing called the, I'm going to get the name wrong. I think called the David Livingstone Foundation.
Right.
Dr. Livingston. I'm going to screw that up. I bet I've fucked that up. But it came from, there's this thing called Lake of Stars, which is a big festival out there. I assume it's not happened in a couple of years because of everything that's going on. And what they do is they get artists across from all around the world. They get musicians, they get actors and filmmakers, and they wanted to bring a contingent from Scotland. And I was chosen to be the comedian. Now, I'll level with you. That was not the phone call I was expecting to do. Where, Malawi, have you seen my act? Like, I just kept wondering, where does that come from, you know? But it was legit. It was through Creative Scotland. They went, listen, there's not really any money in it for you, but we're going to pay your way. What experience is going to be? You're going to get a per diem, which is some cash every day to be there, which I actually gave all away to like a local orphanage, every single penny. But that was the thing, man. It was also such a cult. I mean, the flight on its own, and I'm on my own, and I'm going to Malawi, and it's just like, to do dirty jokes at people and like, this is weird. This is weird. Like, I've told as many people as I can just so they know this is definitely happening. You know, I'm not away to join a cult or something.
And you expect me home, kind of thing. Yeah.
And you will expect me home. All I knew that a guy that I worked with, a promoter, was going to be there. So I went, so there's somebody there that I know, you know. Hang on, did you hear that?
I thought I did, aye.
Are you all right, Heather?
Have you? Is that your dog and your wife?
That was my dog and my wife. I don't know what you're insinuating. Hang on.
That came out my mouth before I thought about it.
Hello. Yeah, my wife shot herself. Sorry, it's my wife's birthday today. I should say as I'm recording. Don't
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Don't feel bad about it. She's got a day off. I've trapped her. I've given her 3 kids. She's going nowhere. She's going to the bed. But so I went across to do Malawi. Aye, and this was actually, and how ironic it be during this time. This was actually when the Ebola outbreak was happening.
Oh, jolly good.
So I was getting temperature checks was like, but the thing is, when you're at Langawi Airport, which is the one you get to go to drive 5 hours to get to Malawi. I mean, it's such a culture change. First of all, I'd been given a list of things not to say. Like, these are things you cannot do on stage, even like casually, you can't even talk about.
Wow.
So I was already kind of on edge a wee bit, and then they're doing temperature checks, and this voice kept going in my head. What if you're too warm?
Aye.
You know, what if you're too warm? What does happen? Like, I don't know.
Out the back, bang.
Exactly. I don't know. I kept panicking. And then it was fine. We got in and they put us in a bus. And it's funny because I'm in this bus, and this is finally this is a word for word true story what happened. We're getting on the bus and he's handing us cash. So we're going, well, what's this? And he went, just so you know, there's a very good chance we're going to get held up at one point, but don't worry, it's been prearranged. Sorry? Like,
welcome to Africa.
Yeah, well, what does that mean? And he went, listen, there's going to be a roadblock. Guy's going to come on, give him your money. Everyone gets off. It's fine. It's literally, it's practically a toll. It's all been agreed. Yeah. But officially we're going, and I'm sitting next to a guy that's a writer for The Guardian, and already at this point, and this guy's crap, and a lot of them were there just as like there was journalists and all this kind of thing. It's like, why you're here? And they're like, well, it's a festival in Malawi because you've got to, haven't you? And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it was, and then I ended up sharing a room with a poet called Michael Peterson. I only say that because me and Michael could not be too further apart individuals if we tried.
Right.
But even now we're friends because it's like,
Mega.
You'll have known this from your travels when you're just sitting there and you just suddenly go, what is going on? How did this happen? It's just what are those kind of situations? And to be, you're in trouble when you're getting coached about don't go near the monkeys. If a monkey drops in your path, go the other way.
Because they're up for a fight.
They will fucking rip me apart like a wet. They, like not even considering. So I was there for a few days. I did stand up in front of 5,000 Malawians, if that's their name. I didn't go for a swim in the water where they said something could swim up your penis. I didn't do that. I still remember when I was getting my jabs, it's go, do you want the jab in case it goes up there? It's like, no, all right, I'll just stay out of the water.
Exactly.
You might not be able to resist. It's like, I'm a grown fucking man. I reckon I can resist going for a splash. Thank you very much.
You went in, didn't you? You went for a swim.
Oh, just put my feet in just to show them I'm a rebel. And I did improv with this acting class that came, this theatre group, but it turned out they couldn't actually perform because the stage was a little disorganised in that respect. I ended up doing this improv class for like 4 hours, completely impromptu in a room, a kind of hut really, that was on this resort, drinking Sprite because I wasn't allowed to drink the water because I had to sign a disclaimer saying I wouldn't drink water unless it was bottled, and they ran out of water, so I was drinking Sprite. I had to brush my teeth with Sprite. And then these guys, bless them, they were nice. We saw you on stage last night. We don't know much about comedy, and just learning about them and them learning about me and just laughing for Brilliant. 4 hours was just, and that's the thing. There was times where it's like we can't understand anything, like background, schools, references, like there was just stuff that made no sense, and that is. Mate, that's what I like more about anything is learning different things and going a different way with them and just being able to bring a little bit of light in people's lives, and that shouldn't have happened. Those are my favourite experiences from comedy. The little things like this can never happen again. This can never happen again. It's creating memories. I think that's it. Memories. Finally got there to answer what I was up to.
But I mean, like listening to what you do for a living, when you. It's hard. Like for me, I give the occasional little talk about my trip and stuff to different bike clubs and that. And you have to adapt it to the room because just on what the room's like. Completely. But you're dealing with people's senses of humour, and everyone's got a different type of sense of humour. And then now you're doing it in like Malawi and other countries where, Americans, different parts of America have different sense of humour. Don't you? The South's different to the East Coast, which is different to the West Coast.
100%.
Canada's totally polar to America. So how do you judge it all? Is it just when you get there, see how it goes?
Do you know there's a little bit of that? Sometimes there's also a little bit of like, well, this is it. This is it. This is the danger is they might not like me. They might not get it.
Right.
I mean, I've been booked for some corporate gigs where they went, right, yeah, we've seen you before. We love you. Let's get you do your thing. And I do my thing. I do exactly what they wanted. And they went, fucking hated that. And you're like, well, why did you book me then?
Yeah.
It's like, did you prep anyone? Because it's funny because the number of people you'll get going, oh, we love you. Come and do stand up at my wedding. And I have to go, you don't want me to do stand-up at your
wedding. Think about this.
You don't realise it. You don't realise it. You've seen me in a comedy club environment or at a theatre or a festival or something. Your wedding doesn't want that. Your wedding wants to get drunk and talk about Auntie Sadie jumping on the bouncy castle with a bib out or something. Do you know, that's what they want. But in terms of judging it, man, it's I pride myself and I look at it as being a positive and a weakness, that at the same time, a weakness for maybe my career developments, but also a positive for the nights and the experiences. As I like to consider myself to be quite diverse, that I can change. Now, that brings its own stresses. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing worse about you're doing wrestling commentary one day, and then you're doing stand up to in the Stand Comedy Club or Hot Water or somewhere like that another day, and then you're doing a kids family friendly show on like a Saturday. It's not like I can write this gag on a Monday and I'm using this gag all week. So you do have to judge it. I mean, sometimes that can be a negative. Like if you look at a room and go, oh, these guys all look like arseholes. Well, it's my job to make them laugh. It's my job to chill them out. And even though I could be the polar opposite to someone, doesn't necessarily mean we can't share an experience and humour and have a good time. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you think about it, if there's a, and I hate using this phrase, but you think about it, if there's a tragedy, you know what I mean? If something bad happens, me and a guy who's a polar opposite are going to both run towards whatever the problem is and help. And we just do that naturally, and kind of comedy and emotion all kind of come from this. It got a bit deeper than I was planning to with this. But
No, sorry, dive in.
It kind of comes from the same place. It's like, if somebody might not find me funny because I exist, and there's nothing I can do about that, but I'm also not going to apologize for that. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like, you will get people that are trying to go, oh, can't he stand up? Prick, he's so unfunny. You ever seen him do stand up? No. And I've heard that about loads of comedians that I love. You know, people will say that to me. It's like, that Frankie Boyle, he must be, Frankie's actually probably one of the most prominent ones, because I think people are always expecting me to say he's like a real bastard of a guy or something. They go like, oh, what's that Frankie Boyle like about he's an arsehole? Frankie's a really lovely dude. He's a really nice guy, and he's helped me in the past, and I know he's helped other comics, and he's a really good guy. But in terms of judging a room, hey, it's always nice to be prepared if you can be prepared. You know, you're there to do a job, and it's nice to be ready for that. If there is a bunch of old ladies in the front row, let's talk to the front. Maybe we're not going in with finger banging straight out the gate. You know, maybe we're wanting to address them and make them feel more happy. Or I use that as an example because I remember doing a gig and there being a really old lady at the front and going, it's going to be some bad language, and I'm going to be going all throttle. We okay with that? before I even did anything, I think I said hello to everyone and go, just before I start, madam, I don't mean to single you out, but everyone here is wondering if it's going to be okay if I talk. And she was like, go for it. And then she went, go for it, son. Permission given. Let's have ourselves a good time.
Awesome.
And you know, the thing is, if she'd had any insecurities, or even if she was like, I don't really want to be here, or I've been made a big deal of, now I feel part of it. And I think people naturally assume that all comedians are arseholes, I think, to a certain degree. Like, we're completely thick-skinned, we don't care, or they're just there to do our act or whatever. It's like, no, every comic I know, every good comic I know, cares about their audience and cares about how the gig went. Don't get me wrong, I know these guys, and it's the same in any industry, that just, you know, come in, put the tape in, press play. They don't care.
Regurgitate the same old
spiel. Yeah. It's like I've worked with those guys. I mean, guys that are still talking about steps, you know, or I'm not joking. I'll never mention his name, but about 2 years ago, I remember doing a gig with a guy, and I'm talking about S Club 7, and I nearly fell off my seat laughing, but for all the wrong reasons. Like, S Club 7, what the fuck? That was his reference. You know, like, not even a funny way. I mean, they're into all these bands like S Club 7, and I was like, what the fuck? He's not changed these gags since 1998. You know, probably still thinks Jeff Capes is the world's strongest man or something.
Absolutely.
But no, it's important to judge your crowd, and hey, it makes it more exciting. Every day works a little different. Every day is a challenge. Terrifying, but that's the cool thing. It's fucking terrifying. I mean, like, and I like using that a little bit, because that nervous energy. I mean, there is like, oh my god, I'm so prepared. Are they going to laugh? Are they go, oh Jesus, I've no idea. You're here now. This is what you put in all the work for.
Right.
Let's have a good time. Let's have a good time. And that's it, really. And hey, I love nothing better than if you've got someone in the front row is sitting with a face like Fizz, and you can't, you know, the thing is, you can't judge people, because a guy might sit there, and I don't pish myself when I'm watching Only Fools and Horses, but I really like Only Fools and Horses, you know. But the number of times you've went, are you all right? You are staring at me like a skid mark on a towel. Are you all right? And the guy went, I said I'm fine. I'm having a good time. Fair enough. Fair enough. Just double check. As long as you're happy, it kind of relaxes everyone, you know. And it also reminds them that you can actually see them. I can physically actually see you. So, but that's the excitement for me, man. It's just doing the different gigs and doing a different style of gigs, and you know, two audiences are the same. I just think that's the most wonderful job in the world in that respect. And God, how boring would it be if you always knew it was going to be easy?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Because you just fall into that trap, wouldn't you, of just regurgitating the same thing. There'd be no. Yeah. I imagine there'd be no challenge to it. You know, it works. Just bang it out. Whereas you've got to adapt it all the time.
there are comics out there that I'm sure like have the confidence. I mean, it's a little different, I guess, if you've got a massive following, like, you know, people are there to see you. Like, I can understand that, but you're still in these other pressures of, well, this is going to be good, you know, because you don't want to be like Jimmy Carr doing a gig to like 10,000 people and they're no laughing. It's like, you know, that brings its own problems. But
that's going to be horrific. Like, I've heard like I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, obviously, and he's always going on about it. Like when you die, when you have a real, is that what they call it? When you die,
dying on your hole, dying. Yeah.
And it sounds like it doesn't matter if you're the most successful comedian out there. Everybody will have that moment when you die. Certainly when you start, it's got to be horrific to go through.
Man, yeah, it is. Like, but I'm laughing for. It kind of gets weird. Like, I guess if it happens randomly, then 100%. I mean, but you also kind of find a way of dealing with it, and you kind of start. I don't want to say you start relishing it, but you kind of do. Like, if there were any young comics or any new comics listening to this, if you are dying on your hole, feel free to mention it, but don't let it cripple you. You know, don't let it cripple you, because hey, I've done gigs and I've went, this is, you guys are quiet. I didn't break into your house. Like, you fucking came here. I mean, you look like you're waiting on me starting juggling. Fucking, you know. And even then it kind of relaxes people, like, oh, he knows this. he's aware of this. And it kind of relaxes. But man, those are the gigs you learn from. Like, the first gig I ever did, went really well. Like, the first gig I ever did went really well. I've watched it back since, and I've watched it with my fucking hands just going, oh, God. Oh, how awful. But I remember I did that gig, and then at that gig, I got booked for one the following night, and I was like, I've made it.
I've made it. Sold. It's easy.
Fucking, this is so easy. I'm going to write, and I made every mistake. Like, every mistake you can make. I went, I'm going to write a new set. It just taken me the best part of 3 months to write 5 minutes, but I'm gonna bang one out in a night, and I'm gonna memorize it, and I'm gonna be ready. And then I did a gig in a place called the Tartan Rose in Paisley. I'll never forget this, and I died in my hoop. Like, I made every fucking mistake you could make. But then the guy gave me a tenner after it. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. I remember thinking, like, oh, I want this now. I want this. It'd be like, I guess, when like a football striker, you know, gets that goal from the centre line, gets that goal, and he's always chasing it. He's always chasing to do that again. And so there's a little bit of that, and it made me go, this is not going to be easy. I'm going to knuckle down, and I'm going to make this happen. And that's it. But then you do also, there is nothing better than kind of relishing down on your ass. Especially when it's gigs like, oh, this isn't going well for anyone. Like, when you leave a gig going, oh man, that did not go well. At least the other guys will rip it.
Yeah. Good
on them. And then later on that night, you text your pal that was on, how did the rest of the gig go? Mate, you were the highlight. How the fuck was that the highlight? It was like people ripping up chairs and like, oh, no. Setting fire to the raffle. And this was I'm not mentioning what gig it was, but this was a charity gig. This was and I remember
you started a riot at a charity gig.
Well, kinda. What I'll tell you, fuck it, I might as well tell you. I won't tell you the charity, but it was you know who Jim White is? Do you know who Jim White, the former, he's a football pundit on.
Oh yes, yeah. He used to be on the telly and everything. Yeah, got you.
He used to be on the telly. I think he's on Sky now, and it was a charity gig, and it was going to be us and some ex-footballers doing whatever they do, sportsman's dinners kind of chat.
Right.
And already we're going, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good, but fuck it. Let's see what happens. And I went, so what's it you want me to do? You want me to host? Oh, no. We've got Jim White to be host. He hosts every year. Don't worry about it. They love Jim White. They love him to bits. So don't you worry about it. They love him. And so gets to the start of the night. And I think I'm first on, because I think I'm going on to another show straight after it. And I'm sitting at this table already with the round tables. People are nice enough, but I'm still kind of like going, why am I here? Why is this guy with a beard and tattoos? And I don't know. I swear there was a nun up the back. I'm not even joking. I swear there was nuns up the back. The whole shebang. And they go, anyway, right, and now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jim White. And I've never heard fucking booing like it in my life. They fuck you, Jim White. People, people, so you fucking ruin the telly. They're letting him have it. And I'm like, holy shit. And originally I'm like, oh, I'm misunderstanding. This is banter. And he's like, hi everyone, Jim White here. Fucking up. The guy, a wee old man that was docile next to me is going, oh, this fucking cunt again. I was like, what? This guy's like 90, can barely move, and the only thing he's coming to his skill is so it's Matt and they went, how do you want to be introduced? I just went, special one of the guest comedians for the night. You're gonna love him, Billy Kirkwood. Nothing more than that. I don't need anything more. This arsehole has like found some article or some CV thing or something somewhere and is reading out every last thing, and I'm like, oh my fucking god! And he was in children's TV show School of Silence, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake! They probably think I'm going to be coming up here with Orville the Duck or something, you know. And I get up, and like I say, it just goes, all right, maybe at best. I got through it. 15 minutes. Couple of bankers did not nail early on, and I'm like, this is going to be a shift.
Yeah.
This is going to be a shift. But hey, I did my bit. I got a nice enough clap. People seemed to enjoy it, and away I went. Then later on that night, I heard like, by the time the sportsman got on, who I kept going, hey, listen, this isn't my gig. Everyone here's to see these sportsmen. Apparently by that time, it was a full-blown fucking riot. People getting up on chairs going, hey, will you just be quiet down the back? Fuck you! And throwing stuff. So,
Jesus.
Those are the gigs that I love in some respect, because you're like, well, I did all right then.
Yeah, get your money, get out, job done.
I raised my money for the charity. You should have tried harder.
It's your fault, not mine.
It's your fault. They were all right when I was on.
Right, shall we crack on with questions, because there's loads I want to chat about what we've already covered here, but I know from past experience, people's questions take us down paths that we can chat about everything that we've sort of covered so far. Right, so first of all, we'll go to the clan over on Patreon, so it's patreon.com/TeapotOne. First one, Neil Davis, straight out the gate, Billy Connolly or Frankie Boyle?
Oh, Billy Connolly.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Frankie. He's the daddy. He's if there is any comedian, I would say, even comedians that are into very different or very diverse types of style of comedy from the UK. And again, I mean that with great love. I love all styles of comedy. But if anyone says they were not influenced by Billy Connolly, they're a fucking liar. If you turn around to me and you say, oh, no, Bill Hicks is where I got my inspiration, you're a clown. Fuck off. I guarantee your dad listened to Billy Connolly albums. I guarantee you watched him on Parkinson. He's the dad. He always was. He always will. Even his last stand-up album where Parkinson's has taken... I don't want to say he's taken a hold mentally, because it hasn't, but physically he's not who he was.
I saw him live on that tour. My wife and I went and saw him.
An absolute triumph. It's fantastic. It probably is one of his best all-round shows, I think. Billy's the daddy. And always will be. Sadly, I wish I'd taken a different stage name. There's a different people that go, oh, you're like Billy Connolly if you bought him off Wish. Fuck off. You know what I mean? I wish I had the attention, but I look like I'm melted in the post. They were trying to get Billy Connolly, and I turned up with a third nipple or something. But no, he's still the daddy. No disrespect to Frankie, he is a legend and an icon in Scotland still. Yeah.
Nice one. Next one, Ravenshead Rider. To you both, what makes you laugh?
Oh wow. I laugh at anything. Like I have no. I mean, I could laugh at anything. I was laughing at a video for a good 10 minutes this morning of a kitten farting in its mum's face. And I was just like, that's just perfect. That's everything that makes me laugh. I laugh at the idea of pushing my mate through a hedge on the way back from school. He's walking down the street going...
When you're 44. Yeah, I'm the same.
Oh, mate, if I can do it now. Like, see, when you're a kid and you get pushed through a hedge, you just get a wee bit of a bollocking. Man, that's assault. What makes me laugh? I mean, my kids make me laugh. I love the inventiveness and diversity that kids have in their brains. Just like just the willing to suspend disbelief. That makes me laugh. I love dirty jokes. I think my favorite thing is silly, grounded in everyday life. When the tragedy happens in everyday life, I think that just makes me laugh. The absurd, it shouldn't be there. Like from getting knocked out from an emu to getting that happened. And that shouldn't have happened in my day, and that happened. Or, if you shit yourself in a seesaw, or you look over and there's a guy and he's got like...
As you do.
Yeah, I shit myself in a seesaw at a 6-year-old's birthday party 3 weeks ago. And see, and I'll tell you this now, see when you're a grown man and you shit yourself in a seesaw, nobody runs to help you. You're right, Uncle Billy. Uncle Billy's going home.
I wasn't expecting that.
I'm sorry. I'm doing that crying that sounds like a straw going in and out of a McDonald's. Fuck me, fuck man. It's just the lowest I've ever. This is the lowest you've ever been. Leave the party.
Wow.
Stuff like that makes me laugh. I don't know. I'm more likely not to laugh. I'm more likely to laugh than not laugh. If I see
what else do you do?
Yeah, if I see an attempt at human tragedy, oh fuck, man, I am that arsehole that'll laugh at a funeral, and it'll be for the stupidest reason. You can't even look at me. Oh, this is so awkward. God, imagine if someone started laughing. Oh, and I'm done.
It's in the seed sown.
Yeah, it's like, oh, did you see Billy? He looked really emotional, all red-faced and sweating. I didn't even
know just about holding it in.
I didn't even know he liked Dalek that much. Couldn't even talk to me at the end. So that's kind of my thing. I mean, if I were to say, if you were asking the question from TV shows or from people to watch, Robin Williams is my favorite comedian of all time. But I've always got to say, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is probably my favorite TV show. If you've never seen it,
I've never seen it.
My journey into that was wrestling because I toured with Rowdy Roddy Piper, the wrestler, a few years ago when he did before he passed, of course.
Right.
He did a spoken word tour, and I was the warm up for him, and he mentioned that he was in an episode. I hadn't really given it much attention. I don't really like I laugh at bits of The Office, but I wouldn't say The Office is a go-to watch for me.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Like,
I get you.
When Jim puts Dwight's stapler in the jelly and is just tormenting, comes in dressed like him one day and all that, like that I find is funny, but the rest of it I couldn't tell you who's who. I couldn't tell you what happened. But It's Always Sunny is, again, it's kind of we're all arseholes at the end of the day, and it just kind of focuses on how people are just desperate losers is what we all are. And I've got to say, if you've never given it a shot, it's about 13 seasons in, so wow. I'd maybe take a shot at an episode somewhere in the middle and see what you like.
Okay.
It's there was a wrestling episode that I went, I'm going to watch that, and yeah, I fell in love with it. That's probably my go-to. I fancy a laugh, and it's like it can be a hard and very un-PC watch at times, but fuck me, is it funny? Danny DeVito was amazing in it. Danny DeVito was amazing in it. He's brilliant. Frank Reynolds is my favorite character on TV. Like, honestly,
I hate political correctness. I really do. I'm like, I'm a grown-up human being. I can make my own mind up about something as to whether I think that's humour or is it vicious verbal assault on someone because of something. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just not. I just hate the way we're all being told this is what you must think about something. This is what you must say about something. It's like it's humor. It's human instinct, isn't it, to have a laugh? And
definitely
nobody wants to insult other people, do they?
I think certainly some great things have happened from political correctness, certainly in the real world. But in terms of comedy, I always come down for it. I mean, don't get me wrong. There has been some missteps. Like I get the world moves on. I get what we say now. We couldn't have said 20. I understand. Yeah. I always come from, it doesn't come from a place of hate. Like, if it doesn't come from a place of hate, you've really got to bear that in mind. Like, you could turn around and watch comedians from 10 years ago and go, oh, should you really be talking like, it's like, yeah, come on, though. Like, I could come out and mention, so I was driving in my car and my mum was killed by a car. It's like, right, okay, that's upsetting to you. But I wasn't talking about your mum. I was talking about the car you probably drove here in. So settle down. I can understand. I don't like the idea of people getting offended on behalf of people. I think, it's good that we give everyone their voice so they can speak and listen to equally.
Absolutely.
And that's great. But I totally, I don't like being dictated to, because the thing is, the majority of us aren't arseholes, and we're able to actually adjust our thinking pretty easy, and that's always been my take on it.
And I also think that the more you sort of push people that you must do this and you must do that, the more people will push back. And surely that's the polar opposite of what you want from being politically correct. Surely you want everyone to be treated exactly the same. Surely that's the ideal. Treat everyone the ideal, the same.
We're giving a voice to the wrong people if we're, if it pushes back. Why about let's lift everyone up? Yeah. So everyone's got an equal voice and not
definitely
push people down. I think that's where we go. Don't get me wrong. If your mate's down the pub saying some inappropriate things about racism or sex and what have you, then
of course
you will adjust that. He will know about it pretty well, because he knows, like, I'm not cool with you saying that, but it's always been my big belief in all that. Like, we'll weed out the dickheads. Let's put it this way: we'll weed out the dickheads ourselves.
Nice. Right, enough of that. Next one, Joe Hicks. What is your favourite bike or biker-related joke? To both of you.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. Do you know, that's very interesting.
Biker-related joke.
That's a great question. I don't know if I've really got a biker-related joke. I'm trying to think. I must have a story or something somewhere. Do you know, I don't think I've got a biker related joke. Doesn't tend to be something. He's probably like a really old school one or something, like, what did the Irish biker, the Scottish biker, there's probably like one of there somewhere. I just have a feeling I should have a feeling.
I can't think of a single one.
Mine's would probably be tattoo related, because I'm covered with tattoos. I've got a friend called Eggy who's a biker, and I met him for the first time when I was getting a tattoo. And he came in and he was talking to the guy that was tattooing me. He went, "Oh, Billy does a show about tattoos. Show him yours." And what he had was, he had a dragon tattooed up the shaft of his cock. Right now, the thing is. With little claws hanging onto the testicles, which is weird, right? But the thing you need to know about Eggy is, clearly I wasn't his cup of tea, because I wasn't saying it like angry or anything. It just kind of flopped there at me, like a Jim Henson puppet go wrong. And I remember him going, he clearly saw I wasn't too impressed, and he was like, "So what do you think about it?" And give it a wee shake. And I'm like, "Don't fucking shake it at me." Like the fucking melted baddie from RoboCop or something, just jiggling it at me. That's I always think of that with biking. Any biker related stuff comes, I always imagine Eggy taking with his helmet on. No, he didn't even take his fucking helmet off indoors.
Just got his old boy out.
Just got his dick out. Not a problem. Zip. There it is. What do you think of my tattoo, son? Not a lot, mate. Not a lot, to be honest.
You tickle him, it becomes a giraffe. Yeah,
exactly. What possessed him? Must have liked Game of Thrones. I never asked him.
I mean, it's like, as a tattooist, I wonder how often stuff like that happens. Like, people come in wanting certain private parts of their anatomy to be tattooed.
I've seen a couple. Like, I've seen a couple of dickheads.
Oh yeah.
I'm not going out searching for them or anything. Don't think I'm like,
what circles do you hang around in?
Don't think I'm like jumping out of hedges and like taking a picture, clipping them and releasing them into the wild. I'm not doing anything like that. There's a boy that had a lightsaber tattooed up his knob, and all I could think of was, he's made the noise at least once, right? He's walked around the bedroom going, whoa, 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 whoa. Watch yourself, sweetheart. I am your father. He's got all the chatting. He's got all the chatting. So
this is you, isn't it? It's you, isn't it?
It's me. I've got it right here. No, Obi-Wan Kenobi or whatever. So yeah, it's a special type of cat that gets it's a special type of cat that gets a penis tattoo.
Oh Jesus! Right,
Sorry,
next one.
I don't know if we went down that path.
No,
if you'll pardon the expression.
Next one, Martin Yoxall. What's the best heckle you've had?
Me personally,
He's got another part of you. He says, I was going to try and tell an amputee joke, but I'm stumped. Martin lost his leg in a bike accident.
Good on him.
Right.
Good on him.
Best heckle.
Man, me personally, I don't tend to get heckled very much because I go quite fast as well. And I think when you are a bit of a motor mouth, people are like, I might not bother. He seems a bit confident and he seems a bit mouthy. He'll probably have a go at me back. And it's like, I probably will. But you know, the thing is, this is the myth about heckling, man. Most times, people aren't there to be an arsehole. They think they're being a part of the show. You're not being a part of the show. You wouldn't go around to someone's house and dance in front of their telly while they're trying to watch a film. You know what I mean? It's like, and if you're heckling at a comedy show, you're kind of doing the same thing, to be honest. So most people don't, it doesn't tend to come from a bad place. And sometimes, hey, it can be really fun if somebody does shout something out and, you know, it does become a part of the show. In terms of someone going, you're fucking shit or whatever, I don't think I've ever really had that. Maybe like once really early on, and the audience, I didn't even need to say anything, the audience turned on him. I remember going, they're like, oh, fuck off, he's fucking, like, it's like, misread the room there, dickhead, never mind. And I think that's literally all I said, misread the room here, dickhead. Don't worry, he's actually sitting there thinking it's a karaoke and wondering why I'm no singing. Must have felt like a knob end. I actually think what I said was, thanks for ruining the flow of the show like a bad tampon, which is quite harsh, but it is. I think the worst heckle I've ever seen happened.
I was just the way to say it, yeah. All
right, happened at a kids' show. Two. First of all, there's a comedian who I absolutely love to bits. I won't say his name because I think that would be a shame. It's a one-night incident. He was opening the show. There was the compere brought him on, done a really good job. I was the compere, so there it is. And he came on. Now this guy is for me knocks it out the park. This is a killer. This guy's a killer. He'll destroy audiences. He's brilliant. But in this night, just didn't work. Don't ask me why. This happened. Just didn't work. And I remember him being 5-6 minutes into it. And I'm going, I've lost you, but I'm going to get you back. And this woman leant forward from maybe 2 rows back and went, is this your first time? Oh. Now, he'd been going about 15 years. And I wanted it to be like In the Line of Duty. I wanted to jump and way and go, no, because I could see the moment where it was like, it cut him. It cut him right to the core. Is this your first time? I just didn't know what to do. And then the next night, he absolutely fucking killed it again. It was just the worst thing I've ever seen at a kids one is they're a kids comedy club here in Glasgow, actually. And the comedian that was on, she had been on 2 or 3 weeks in a row. Now, as is quite unlikely, the same family had came back. So she was doing some material, and the theme of it, the kind of role of it was blah, 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 blah. And then she said, and you know what happened next? And this wee hand shoots up and goes, oh, no. Yes, you told us 2 weeks ago. And it's like, well, that's you fucked. That's you absolutely fucked. And then there's another comic called Jonathan Elliston that I remember he walked on, maybe on stage 30 seconds. We kid at the front row again. They won't just heckle. Kids don't mean it as heckling. They're just asking. A wee hand shoots up and John goes, yeah, how can I help you? Are you fat? And he goes, because I like a lot of food. Okay, that's fine. And like, you could see the wee boy talking to his pals next to him. It's because he doesn't like. It's because he likes food. It's because he likes food. That's the reason. That's the reason he's fat. Oh, good. All right, we'll enjoy the rest of the show now. Kids are just inquire. That's him. He's completely satisfied. And kids' minds will go to a mental place. I do this thing called the imagination sandwich at kids' shows, where it's like, right, I've got my sandwich. Everyone
I love how you do kids' shows as well.
Oh man, it's just so much fun. And it's like, so I'm making a sandwich here, and you all get to give me an ingredient to put in the sandwich. What is the ingredient? And you'll get all this weird stuff. And I always remember this one kid, Hitler. Oh, right, okay. It's going to be an interesting car ride home, that one. You know what I mean? He's one of those wee kids that swallows at the wrong time of a sentence and makes it weird. You know, it's just like, hey, do you want to go out and play? What's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? Those guys give me the fear.
Brilliant. Excuse me. You're saying you do is that the kids improv that you do as well?
I've never done improv for kids, but
I thought you did that.
I do improv comedy with a bunch of different folk, but I've never done it for kids actually.
Oh, I thought you did like improv workshops for kids. All right.
I do improv workshops for kids. So sorry, I don't do improv shows for kids.
All
I do
right,
improv workshops for kids. Yeah. They're great fun. They are amazing fun. When kids just engage, they'll just they're away. They're away. It's a sense of play that we all need to still have. It's a sense of play we all need to still have. Like
it must be quite liberating because, like you said, they just say the truth, don't they? So at a certain age, anyway, of kids, there's no filter. It's just both out it comes.
There it is, man. I think it's great because I think maybe you lose it when you become a sardonic kind of teenager, but then it comes back, man, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I just love it. I think it's great. I think it's great. Awesome. We can all do with that sense of play. It's even like folk would take their kids to the soft play, and I'm like, get on there and jump about the soft play with your kids. Why else? And no, I'm going to sit here on my cup of tea. It's like, fuck's the point in having kids? Do you know what I mean? What are you worried you're going to fall over and hurt something? That's a story. That's why I was on the seesaw.
Takes us back to the seesaw.
Takes us back, you see. It still hurts, still burns.
Get cream for that. Next one. Roger White, random as ever. Nicknames. What's your worst and favourite nickname you've been called? Where have they originated from, and why?
Do you know Billy's a really shite one, man? Like there's not a lot of nicknames for Billy at all. Like I remember one year my mum got me like a ski jacket, which was like brightly coloured. And I do remember like maybe a couple of dickheads in the class were trying to make Christmas tree because like it was brightly coloured like a Christmas tree. And even their pals were kind of like, that one's no sticking.
It's not gonna sit.
Yeah. No, it's not. That doesn't even like. And like Billy, I remember Billy Bingo, and I was just like, what? It's like your mum probably likes bingo, does she? It's like, I don't know. All right, okay.
That's the end of that.
And like King Billy, like I always remember like they would sing my mate Billy's got a 10-foot willy and he showed it to the girl next door. She thought it was a rake. She thought it was a snake. She hit it with the rake and now it's only 4'4". And I always used to go, so you're saying I've got a willy that's 4 foot long? Like even as even
there's no loser there, is there?
Yeah, I don't think I've probably improved things, to be honest.
Probably.
So no, not really any nicknames, I have to admit. Not really any that I know of. Anyway, I'm sure somebody probably calls me fucking amoeba head or something like that, and I don't know, but nothing I can do.
I was going to say, to my knowledge, I don't have any nicknames myself from what I know, but I remember in my old job in the old Bill, there were some cracking nicknames that people were called. Like Slinky's one of the best nicknames I've ever heard. Slinky, because you'll never tire of pushing them down the stairs. It's brilliant. Just brilliant. Loved it.
That's funny. I shouldn't say that, but that's funny.
There was everyone in my old department will know this, but there was a guy that was called the Blade because he wasn't the sharpest tool in the box.
That's funny. Brilliant. That's Genius. Funny, particularly if anyone else comes into class and they're like, "What the fuck do you call him the Blade for?" You want to watch yourself, mate. You want to watch
just
yourself.
Hang on, you'll find out.
You'll show it. Trust me. When he's up the back eating plasticine, you'll figure it out.
That's the sort of sense of humour I really like. I miss like the old Bill, the sort of military rugby team, emergency services type humour. It's a little bit black. It's very cutting. It's just straight to the point. I love that. I do enjoy that.
Some of the situations you guys have to face, particularly, I mean, in the police certainly, and in the military, two great examples. It's a dealing mechanism, but in a very healthy, and I think in a very healthy way. Do you know what I mean?
You have to. You have to let that out somehow, and you either do it by either breaking down and you know, at the end of the day, at the time, what use are you to anybody if that happens? You know, if you can't help it, fair enough. But generally, you've got a job to do, and you've got to maintain a certain persona to deal with relatives in public and everything like that.
Completely.
You know, you just deal with it by humour, just dark humour between you and your mates, and I do miss that.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit there's like still jokes that I have with friends now that I was like, oh, this better never get public. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Jokes I have with my wife. It's like, if anyone, like, honest to God, if anyone ever picks this up on a mic, I'm done. I'm done. Pack up the kids. We have to leave the country.
Yeah. I've made the mistake of like certain things that have happened in the old job that that we rolled about on the floor laughing at the time, just because of the situation, what it is. You try and tell someone that's not connected with that environment about it, and they look at you in abject horror, and you're like, yeah, okay, I can see how maybe this would look bad. But at the time, it was funny.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've told this. I mean, I've noticed. I cut the legs off a horse once, right? And I tell you, no audience has found this funny yet. No audience has found it funny yet. Swear to God, the horse was dead. Right, this is important that people know this. The horse was dead, and I did not kill the horse. Right, I was not involved in the killing of the horse.
Was it like Black Beauty trotting down the field?
Fuck! Like, I'll tell you quickly. Right, here's what happened. Right, first of all, a pal of mine works on a farm. They were laughing. They must have been laughing at me because what they done is they backed the stupid idiots. Is the young guys that worked on the farm backed the horse into a horse box. The horse was not well. I don't know. It might have been a bad horse. I have no idea. It might have been a horrible horse. Then he did his taxis. What an arsehole. Right. So they backed him into the horse box for the vet to give him an injection. But what happened is he fell in a certain way that basically his legs got stuck like a spider, and none of them could go. But they had to get him out. He had to come out. So the only way they could come up with an idea was to cut the legs off the horse. And I volunteered way earlier than I should have, because I'm sure anyone I ended up cutting the legs off a horse. And I've got a lovely coffee table. A lovely coffee table. It's a bit high. But I'm yet to make an audience laugh at that. But
I'm thinking, geez, you're going to struggle with that one.
Yeah, it's like, honest to God, people are dead horse. Did you kill the horse? I did not kill the horse. Not involved. And they were laughing, man. They thought, fucking yes. We didn't have to cut the legs off a horse. This fucking idiot from off the island is going to do it. I tell you what, when I went back and visited my mate the next year, the experience was missing something. I'll say that. Only there was another horse to cut his legs off.
I was going to say, did everyone remember? That's the geezer. That's him.
That's the guy there. Watch him.
Watch him.
Who cut the legs off your horse? Just cut
your legs off. Get the dog away from him.
Aye, like I'm just going in. Should have started with something wee, but I went straight for horse. I mean, Premier Leaguer. I am Premier Leaguer.
Right, we'll draw a discreet veil over that.
Thank you.
Next one, Pete English. Right. Pete has a little bit of a reputation for his questions on here.
Right.
First one. Hi, guys. Hope you're both fit and well. Question. What perks did you have growing up because of your parents' job, and what joke do you wish you had written?
Oh, man. Right. Okay. They're great questions. Let me think. Perks. Now, my dad had loads of different jobs. He was a fencer. I mean he put up fences. I don't mean he fucked about with a sword and a Cavaliers hat, just in case anyone's wondering. What, a fencer? West Coast is what you're talking about?
Yeah, that would stand out a wee bit in Ayrshire.
Wouldn't just this full blown Cavalier walking down with his sash. So, but he also worked at a fire station. I don't know. He tended to. No, we never really got perks. Like, I mean, it's still cleaning fluid. And like, the floor buffers, buffers used to get, like, if you brought home the middle of them, my mum would use it as a scouring pad. Like, they'd be like a donut or a giant pad you put. You bring them home, but that's not really much for us to play with.
But you had clean pans.
Exactly, that's about it, really.
A lovely floor.
The house smelled like a fire station, so all ash and so it's no. My mum, she'd been a cook, she'd been a nanny, so I guess the benefits of that was she had loads of jobs and loads of connections with my mum. But she retired quite early because she had a bad leg. She had a polio when she was a kid, and it never really stopped her. Never stopped her working. I mean, she worked right up until she passed away when she was 60. But she couldn't really have a job for a length of time, so to speak. Like, she wasn't going to be a cleaner for 30 years. She'd had to be a cleaner for like 6 months and then do another job, which was 6 months, just because you just lose benefits and you're always, hey, I'm not saying that we were perfect and what have you. I'm sure she did a bunch of cash in hands jobs. Hey, listen, kept food on the table. That's all I've got to say. Kept food on the table.
You do what you got to do, don't you?
You got to do what you got to do. But she volunteered at a Red Cross charity shop. So I want to give everyone the idea of how it was money-wise in our house. I wore a lot of second-hand clothes, but can I just say I had the best of gear. I had the best of stuff. Right, I mean, we had a new double bed every other weekend. You know what I mean? If it came into the shop, Margaret got first hands on it. So I had the best of gear. Don't get me wrong, some of it was the best of gear from the 70s, but I bloody had it, man. And I rocked it. Like, I was probably the only guy in 1992 to be wearing flares. But I tell you this now.
Just ahead of the curve.
Ahead of the curve, man. They were all coming back. See, big night. Like a style icon, Billy Kirkwood over here. Hello. Do you like my new Kappa tracksuit? Somebody's been buried in it and I've got it. So, I had the best gear. That's probably the only perk I've got to say. Nice food. We always had the great bakers, stuff like that. My mum would win awards for her cooking. So whatever, no matter what was in the cupboard, no matter how little or how poor we were, we always ate well. So that was probably the main perk. Favourite joke I thought I'd ever written. Oh, goodness me. That's terrible because I should know them off by heart, shouldn't I? I should know them off by heart. What's ones that makes me I'm trying to think. Oh, it's not a joke. Is it a joke? It is a joke, kind of. So there's a comic called Carrie Marks. Carrie's an extremely funny man. Don't know him very well, but it's a joke that springs to mind. Mm-hmm. And I remember doing a festival together, and he did walk out and say, "Listen, there's some bad words," because it was a family affair. And he went, "There's some bad words we've been told not to say, like one that particularly begins with F. And I won't say it because there's kids in. I'll just replace it with cunt." And the reaction it got, I mean, standing ovation. And I was like, motherfucker, I wish I'd thought of that. Motherfucker, I wish I had the balls to do that. But I took the risk and it happened. That's probably one of my favourite ever routines. There's a comedian called Paul Curry, who's kind of like somewhere between Steve Martin back in the day when he did all the kind of gimmicky stuff, and Dave Allen. He's got kind of Dave Allen thing going as well. He does just the most ridiculous things you could ever think on stage. It's I can't even describe it, how funny it is. But he'll like do stuff like, oh God, man, he does this whole thing where he puts this cover down by his midsection, and you see him pulling his trousers down, and then he puts the microphone down there and he plays a bit of music, and it's just a sound of slapping, and it makes it look like he's using his dick to make like the metronome noise. And it's like, fuck. I always love the 2 minutes of people going, what the fuck is he doing? And then when the punchline just hits, just that kind of stuff's probably my favourite ever. But if I were to go from a routine with someone I know, I think Robin Williams' one about golf from Weapon of Mass Destruction tour that he did. It's Robin Williams live on Broadway. He does a 5-minute set about how Scotsmen invented golf. And
I've seen that, yeah.
And how it must have been a piss take on the rest of the world. Yeah. It's 5 minutes and it's perfect. I'm not saying it because I'm a Scot. I'm saying it because it's perfect, because it just builds and builds and builds, and it's just
how they invented golf, isn't it? He's pissed. He's like, yeah.
And then it's like, what will we do? Will we make it a big hole, like, and then we're going to have a wee hole to get it? Well, it'll be like a couple of holes that, like, in pool. No, it's just one wee one, half a mile away. There's a wee flag just to give you hope. Like, I don't even like golf, but it's the absolute perfect set. It's the absolute perfect set.
Awesome. When you were chatting there, right at the start, when you said about, he replaced the F word with the C word, straight away I just thought in my head, Frankie Boyle. It's a Frankie Boyle sort of sketch, isn't it? Yeah. And when you were speaking about Frankie Boyle earlier, what popped into my head was how people see Frankie Boyle on, like, Nevermind the Buzzcocks or something, and they think, oh, this is Frankie Boyle. And then you watch his live show where it's like gloves off, let's go
definitely.
for it.
Definitely.
You can see some people like, oh my God.
Yeah, these guys like Frankie and Tom Stade, who are just incredibly funny like that. Frankie in particular, it's like, just like I've been very lucky to support Frankie a couple of times, and it's so funny how people turn up because they want to hear what he's going to say next, and people that don't like him turn up because they want to hear what he's going to say next. Yeah. It's inevitably somebody will be offended, and it's like, what did you think was going to happen?
Why did you go to that show?
You bought a ticket. You must have, like, these sell out fast. You must have bought this ticket, waited in the queue to buy this ticket. Stuff like that, man, I think is just so manic. But I absolutely love Frankie's stuff to bits. Sorry, that's the dog going again.
That's all right. Mine will probably start in a minute too.
Hang on, I'll just double check. Are you still in, Heather? 1 second. I've got to go and answer the door. My legs fucked off. Excuse me.
Bear with us, folks. Bear with us. It's like having your own one-man comedy act going on here, isn't it? Brilliant. And we're back in the room.
We ordered a headboard. I forgot about it because I pure broke the last one because I'm a mad shagger.
Were you 4 foot Willie?
I'm a 4 foot Willie, man. Poor lady. Poor woman. That's all I've got to say. I'm like, well, listen, when I get an erection, my leg goes dead. So it's like, we need to get this done now, hen, for the pins and needles. Because you can. In your own time.
Brilliant. Right, next one. Davy Stewart. Do you think Jack Jester models himself on a younger version of you? Now, I saw this earlier and I thought, I've got to Google it. I Googled it and he does look like you.
Well, I don't know. It does come up a lot. I think I'm definitely better looking, in all fairness, and my beard colour is mostly natural, so I'll say that much. No, Jester's a good mate of mine's. We could be related. He could be my dad. I have no idea. I don't even know how old Jester is. He could be anywhere between 25 and 55 at this rate. He's just got that look about him. That guy that cuts about the pub with his skinny ripped jeans and the bandana around his neck. You know, I don't know. The answer is that. Let's say yes.
Where did the connection with the wrestling come from?
I love wrestling. I have loved wrestling since I was a young guy. Even after this, I'm doing wrestling commentary on the show we work on. I've loved wrestling since I was very, very young. I used to watch it with my mum. Yes, I am just old enough to remember the tail end of British wrestling on the TV ending.
Big Daddy and all that.
Yeah, and finding American wrestling. And don't get me wrong, I did go like, oh my God, this is amazing. You know, with WWF or WWE when it all kind of exploded here in 1992. And that's it, really. It's these parallels between comedy and wrestling in terms of how people perform and it just it happened because there's this promotion in Glasgow called Insane Championship Wrestling. We broadcast all around the world. I had friends that worked for them and they were looking for a commentator and my name came up and I got the gig. And that was that, really. And that's been the connection. And I've worked for WWE doing stuff. I just like wrestling. I like talking about wrestling. I know for a fact that like I said, I'm going to do commentary on a show after this. I know the guy that I do commentary with, despite the fact we'll then have to do an hour and a half's worth of wrestling commentary. We'll spend 30 minutes just talking about wrestling before we even started. Because I'm just such a wuss in that way. But no, I love it. It's a parallel of pop culture. It's been with me my entire life. My kids show a vague interest in it, which is hopeful. Because I love it if kids, and you know the fact that it's constantly changing, man. It's like, it's kind of like, I don't mean any disrespect to football or anything, but it's never interested me. Football's never really interested me. I like my rugby. I like my ice hockey. I like people, I like big boys getting hit. That's what I like. Maybe there's something sexual in there. I never thought about that. But that's where it comes from for me. It's an element of physical storytelling. It's a real life action movie. Well, it's not there's music and there's music and there's women and there's athletes and there's stories and it's like when you get people go, well, but wrestling, it's fake, isn't it? And it goes, just so you know, Bruce Willis doesn't really jump off the top of a building in Die Hard. Just so you know that. And it normally shuts down.
Like Joe Rogan, obviously, he's always going on about jiu-jitsu and stuff, but he says himself, wrestlers are some of the most... what's the word he used? Like the epitome of an athlete for him, he says, is a wrestler. Because he said that the levels of fitness and the workouts that they do and what they put their bodies through, you know, you can't beat that.
Yeah, it's something that I really have. And I think they can read that. I think that's why I was kind of welcomed into that world, because I have respect for that. Maybe it came from the rugby background. I don't know, but it's one of those things that people go, I will not really fall in, are they? Do you know how to fall? And it's like, if you can throw yourself at the ground and it not hurt, I have got 1,000 wrestlers across the planet that would really like to talk to you, because it is like the cardio. They need to go full tilt for 20 minutes. And they've all got different styles, don't get me wrong, but yeah, the physical toll it takes. I've seen people do things in front of me and I've grabbed my head. It's how can you adjust your brain to go, I am willingly going to do this. I am giving up my body to another person. You know, I talk about doing improv and what have you, and I've got to open myself up to suggestions because this isn't planned, but we've got to work together. Man, like, I don't know how they do it. I really don't know how they do it. So Joe is absolutely right. The toll it takes, and it is like, it does take a toll. You know, it's like you're even as careful in the athletes as they are now. You've only got to look at the older generation of athletes and see what it's done to them. And even though it might equate to not being in that same parallel, it's a big risk. It's a high risk, but the rewards are, I guess, you go down in history. So I'll never understand that, man. I'll never be jumping off the top of a cage onto someone, but I will cheer on and I will help in every which way I can the man or woman that decides to do that. It's good on you. Yeah, such respect for them. And don't get me wrong, I've seen my mates, my friends do mad things. And that's hard. That's quite hard to watch, you know. But God bless them. Bless them for it. Bless them for it.
Good on you. Next one, Stuart Bailey. Looking back over your life so far, what's your most embarrassing moment? Is it a seesaw?
It's a seesaw. What are you talking? Seesaw. That's the most. Yeah, because like that's the lowest.
Set the scene for us, Billy. Where was this?
This was out my back door. 6-year-old birthday party last week. This isn't like
your own
a while
house.
Back.
Your own garden.
One house. I came down with a bottle. I was not well, but you see when you're laughing at yourself, but it's the picture of yourself, even that's humiliating. You're like, you fucking turncoat. I thought we were in this together.
Your audio's gone a wee bit funny.
Oh, sorry, I beg your pardon. That any better?
No, you sound a bit like Metal Mickey.
Oh, Jesus, I don't know what's happened. Hang on a second. Did I bump something? Let me try something quick.
No worries.
Wrong thing. I'll try that. Let's have a wee look here.
That sounded better.
Right, hang on one second. There we go. How's that?
Much better. Bosh, back in the room.
I turned coat on myself. Just like, yeah, it's probably up there. But man, if you can't laugh at those moments, like, hey, look, I always get it now. It's like, this is going to make a great story. And you know something? It's a pretty much killer bit because everyone I've told to has laughed. Everyone is, because I think deep down everyone's had that experience. I think deep down everyone's had an experience like that. So I think any bloke that says they've not shat themselves at some point in their adult life, fucking liar. You're a fucking liar. I would scream that at the Pope. Oh, I've had the Pope. I've never shat myself. You're a fucking liar, Your Holiness. How dare you?
Oh man. Wow, that's definitely going in the trailer. Right, next one. Amish Rider. Billy, Amish Rider. Bike trip with Bruce anywhere in the world. Where do you want to go? And the follow-up, Bruce, where would you take him? Ooh.
Oh, well, I've got to say, we've got to do the Highland 500.
Oh, it's beautiful.
We've got to do the Highland 500. I mean, driving in a car, that's gorgeous. But a bike, come on, that's going to have to be beautiful. That'd probably be for me. Anywhere in the world, though, man, I mean, Florida's gorgeous. New Orleans. I think these areas of America I love. I would love to see between. I mean, everyone says Route 66, don't they? Everyone says that, but it's not really, doesn't really have much of an appeal to me. Do you know, I think if I could do anywhere, maybe a ride around New Zealand. If it wasn't the Highland 500,
Yeah.
A ride around New Zealand. I've got specific tastes, I think you can see. I've got, but a ride around New Zealand would be pretty fucking amazing, I think.
Yeah, I've never been to New Zealand. I've got an uncle that emigrated out there about 30 odd years ago, and he's always saying, come out and see this.
My brother lives there, and we're heartbroken with what's going on in the world, because obviously we can't get out to see him just now.
Yeah.
But hopefully that'll change soon. Hopefully that'll change. That's probably one of the first trips we'll be booking in as soon as we can.
I've got a challenge for you then. If you were to come with me, where would I take you? Here's a challenge. It's not so much for the riding, Russia, because I'd love to see you deal with a Russian audience.
Man.
They are great fun. Russians are great fun.
Well, because of the way Russia is, I don't even know if I'd be able to do like any of my
anything.
I don't know if I'd be able to do it. Do you know, I haven't met a Russian comedian. I don't think there's a lot that have done any business outside of Russia. Like really, like genuinely Germans, Dutch, South African. Nope. I cannot think of any Russian comedians. I genuinely can't think of any Russian comedians. There must be some.
There has to be. Like, there are funny people. When I was on my trip and going through Russia, and I was meeting normal Russian people and staying with them, the ones that could speak English, I was in stitches. They've got a similar sense of humour to us.
Yeah.
They're quite self-deprecating. They're very sharp. But it's just with Russians, they're quite hard to deal with when you first meet them, because they're just like a brick wall. They don't give anything up for the first few minutes. It's till they've decided if they like you or not. If they don't like you, they just go. They're not bothered. But if they do, they literally open their life to you. No problem.
I'd wear the kilt. Let them know I'm not a prick. I'd let them know I'm not a prick. I'd wear the kilt. I've done a gig in a prison, and that's kind of the similar way. Like
what one?
It was Berlin.
Oh, aye, nice.
Berlin, and but what I knew was you make fun of the screws and the sex offenders. That's the best way to get a big laugh.
Everyone will love you then, yeah.
Everyone will love you. Just have a go at the screws. This guy, boy's a genius. I think they were disappointed because on the back they saw my long hair, and I think they thought there was a girl in. They were like, fucking yes. And then I turned around and was like, oh fuck.
And I thought, well, it'll do anyway.
Yeah, so I'll get what I need done over this boy later on. That's probably the closest thing to a girl. But that's what I'd probably do. That'd be exciting to do, Russia. Terrifying.
Mate, it's a great place. You ever get the opportunity, go. And go outside of Moscow. Like Moscow's beautiful, and it's an iconic place, but it's not real Russia. You need to head east. It's stunning.
Right,
but anyway,
okay.
Amish Rider's got another one. Can you both say purple burglar? Do you get asked to say this? Purple burglar alarm.
You fucking racist, Amish Rider. Fucking, how dare you? I know exactly what you're doing. It's like burger. You got to say burger.
And murder.
Burger. He's burger hell. Purple burglar alarm. Like, let me get this. Sorry, Amish. I don't really believe you're a racist. I don't know. I know him. It's fair enough.
He's not.
Purple burglar alarm.
Yeah.
How was that? Is that all right? I feel like I'm putting too much purple burglar alarm. I can't even put those two words together.
I'm the same. They used to get me doing it. I used to work with Amish at work in the old Bill. So
there you go. Just check out the Scottish boy trying to speak. Show your face.
I remember I used to work in Peckham, southeast London, and I got called back to the Nick one time when I was in my probation. And the custody skipper, he was like, right, Bruce, cell 6, what's he in for? And I looked and I was like, murder, Sarge. And he was like, excellent, go, off you go. He just wanted me to say he's in for murder.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Double murder, sir. Excellent, up the road. That's all I needed. Come on, wee fix. Here's some shortbread up the road, son. I'm not taking it. I'm taking the shortbread, sir. Don't you worry.
Take a bottle of ginger and do one. Yeah. How are you for time? Are you all right for time?
I'm probably going to have to finish up in the next couple of 5 minutes, if that's all right, mate. If that is all right. No
worries. Right, we'll just we'll fire through. There's still loads just on Patreon, so we'll crack off a couple. We'll crack off. We'll do a couple more questions. That's the way you want to end the show. I'm cool with that.
Just
don't get too excited. There's
I've
no
got my
seesaws
4-foot deck here. It's going to be hard to get
in. Paul Creasy, hope you're both well. Question: have you ever been caught out stealing someone else's material whilst on a gig?
No, not really. I couldn't remember it. Like earlier on, you asked me,
Yeah.
What was my favourite joke? I can't think of any. No, I think you subconsciously you might get people using lines that are similar, but you know something? Here's the big thing. Here's me taking you into the dark side of comedy. There's only 3 jokes in the entire world. They're all told different. They're just all told slightly different. So that would be it. No, I couldn't remember. I wish I could. If I could, I'd probably be doing better than I'm doing now. So there you go.
Right, next one. Ben Craven, what would you do with 1,000 balloons?
What would I do with 1,000 balloons?
Yeah.
I'm going to delay my wife on the way to school. Let's put it that way. I mean, that car's going to be stuffed full of them. I can get 1,000 balloons in her car. I'm going to put them.
My mind was racing, thinking,
"Oh,
wow,
right,
what are you going to do with 1,000?"
I'm not going to fire them up her fanny. I mean, they just.
I haven't seen those videos. Wow.
They just rattle about in there. No, the thing is, it's it's her birthday. That's out of line. That's bang out of line. I would probably say, I do that. My wife would come out and I would just have the kitchen would be full, the car would be full. Even like a bag. Like she'd think she'd got away with it, and then she'd open up her bag at work and boof, balloons would come firing out. Fucking arsehole! Or sandwiches. They'd be burst balloons in her sandwiches, green ones, so she thinks it's lettuce. Just to fucking mess with her.
My mind's just gone back into the old Bill days again, and what used to happen at changeover between the shifts, so like, your day shift would swap with the night shift, and you'd pass the car over to the next shift. Right. People used to go in and get, like the staple, the hole punch, all the bits of paper out the hole punch, and they would they'd put straight into the air vents in the cars with the air conditioning turned up full. So when the new shift got in, there's always a 999 call to take straight out the gate. So you'd whack the button, put the sirens on, off you'd go, and as soon as you go out, the air just woof, get covered in all this hole punch stuff. The last question, last one.
Let's have it.
This one we'll do Grant Laidlaw is the last one. How you doing, Billy? If you had one last night to go out on the lash, do you choose Edinburgh or Glasgow, and why? Yeah. How to ostracise someone.
Yeah, bastard. Now, I'm going to say Edinburgh, but here's why. Here's why. More people will know me in Glasgow, so I can have more fun in Edinburgh just causing trouble.
What's Glasgow like for a night out? Because it was all students when I was there. I was a student at the time.
Brilliant night. Well, I can't speak it recently, of course, but brilliant night out in Glasgow. Fucking amazing. It would be my preferred option, to be honest. But if it's my last one, if it's my last one ever, and I want to go on a high, like wreck a ghost tour and all that type of thing, you know what I mean? Then it's fucking Edinburgh I'm going to. I'm going to destroy that place. Do you know what I mean? And then jump on the train back to Glasgow and I'll go, did anybody see that mental caveman arsehole that was kicking about this city, terrorising folk? Running into the fudge shop and getting his dick out and all that.
It was 4 foot.
It was 4 foot. Can you believe it? Just windmilled it round the fudge. So that would probably be what I'd say. I say that as well because it's a spiritual home of the Fringe and stuff like that. So I know all the nooks and crannies, but if I was just going out and getting wasted, then get yourself to Glasgow. The drinks are cheaper. The drinks are cheaper. If you don't want to pay £8 for a pint of Hogarden or something, then fucking go to Glasgow. Have yourself a good time.
Billy, thank you so much for coming on, man. I know you're tight for time, so I really appreciate you.
It's been a blast. I could talk to you all day.
Absolutely, mate. We've got so many more questions, so another time we'll get you back for another one.
I'd love that. Listen, thanks for having me.
No bother. If people want to catch up with you, come to one of your shows, see what you're up to, what's the best way for people to follow?
Well, now's a good time to do it, I guess, because we're starting to announce shows again, which is great news. The diary could be always busy, so feel free to get in touch if you're looking for any private engagements. But best place is billykirkwoodcomedy.com. Brand new website I've just had built. It's the best place to probably to find all my social media and find out what I'm up to. Give me a wee while to get up to speed because it's the first website I've ever... A professional built it and then he gave it to me and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm getting up to speed just now. But yeah, that'd be the best place to get in touch. I'll let you know everything I'm up to there. And feel free to say hi.
Brilliant, fantastic, folks. I'll put all Billy's links in the show notes and the vid description, everything like that. So make sure you check them out and give them a follow. Billy, thank you very much once again, mate. It's always a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Been a delight. Thanks very much, man. Thanks very much.
All right, bud. Take care of yourself. All right, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Hope it's put a smile on your face. Keep on doing your thing. Get on out there. Look after those that you love. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha! Cheers, dude. Really appreciate it, mate. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Sorry I couldn't hang on longer, mate.